Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Tel Aviv. Coming up in today's newscast, Hezbollah issues a direct threat to Israel. The IDF forms an elite new brigade, and a Jerusalem neighborhood receives a unique visitor. I'm Natasha Kirchak here with the latest news in Israel. The war of words between Hezbollah and Israel continues. Hezbollah's Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah is threatening to retaliate against Israel for the assassination of terrorist Samir Kuntar.
سمير القنطار استشهد وهو يحمل هذا الأمل في قلبه ويدون هذا المعنى بحبره في وصيته. الرد على اغتياله قادم لا محالة. الرد على اغتياله قادم لا محالة. انظروا عند الحدود من الناورة من البحر لمزارع شبعة لجبل الشيخ لآخر موقع إسرائيلي في الجولان المحتل. أين هم جنود وضباط وآليات العدو الإسرائيلي؟ أليسوا كالفئران أو خلينا نكبرهم شوي، أليسوا كالجرذان المختبئة في جحورها؟
The terror chief's threats come in response to statements by IDF officials, warning that the Lebanese terrorist organization will make a big mistake if it strikes at Israel. But Nasrallah is undeterred by Israeli threats. He now vows that a response from Hezbollah is coming, and Israel should be worried both within its borders and abroad.
كان في حدا أخطأ بالتقدير أو عم يخطئ بالتقدير هو الإسرائيلي وليس نحن. بالنسبة إلينا سأكون واضحا جدا في جواب كل ما قاله الإسرائيليون خلال هذه الأيام من تهويل ومن تهديد. هذا لن يمس بإرادتنا وتصميمنا على العمل. أيا تكن التبعات، أقول للصديق والعدو، أيا تكن التبعات والتهديدات التي طبعا لا نخافها، أيا تكن التبعات والتهديدات، نحن لا نستطيع ولا يمكن أن نتسامح مع سفك دماء مجاهدينا وإخواننا من قبل الصهاينة في أي مكان في هذا العالم.
It looks like Israel's top soldiers will have a new place to call home. The IDF has created a new commando brigade by bringing together the Army's various elite units. The new unit is called Brigade Oz, and it will be part of the Central Command's 98th Division. The IDF has created the unit in an effort to make the Army more efficient. Brigade Oz combines some of the most specialized units, such as Igoz, Rimon, Maglan, and Duvdevan, which are currently scattered throughout the Army. Combining the units will allow the Army to get rid of redundancies and strengthen the individual units. The move marks another step in the adoption of the Gidon plan for streamlining the IDF. At a ceremony for the opening of the brigade last night, the Chief of General Staff Gadi Eisenkot stressed the importance of the new unit, saying it will combat the numerous threats that face Israel. Israel's continuing to go after Hamas operatives following recent clashes. A Palestinian died this morning after succumbing to wounds from a violent clash between a Hamas-run enclave and the IDF last week. 48-year-old Yusuf al-Buhail was one of 40 Palestinians wounded in the clashes that took place last Friday. He was shot just east of the Maghazi refugee camp in the center of Hamas-ruled Gaza. An IDF spokeswoman reported that hundreds of Palestinians took part in the clashes, and there were fears that they would try to break into Israel. Last night, Israeli security forces arrested 4 wanted Hamas activists in the West Bank. The 4 suspects were nabbed in the Hebron and Nablus areas and are now being questioned. The Israeli cabinet is moving quickly to force non-governmental organizations to declare funding from foreign countries. The Ministerial Committee for Legislation has already passed a bill that requires NGOs to declare all funding from foreign governments. The bill will also require the groups to note their foreign funding on all official documents to civil servants. Representatives of such NGOs will have to wear an ID badge whenever they attend sessions in the Knesset to reflect their group's foreign funding, just like lobbyists do. Or they'll face a 29,000 shekel fine. Almost all the groups affected by this bill identify with the left, since many receive funding from foreign governments. Those on the right are generally funded by private donations and aren't subject to the bill. The bill is already facing stiff criticism from the European Union. The EU ambassador to Israel has reportedly attacked the bill in a recent meeting with Justice Minister Ayelet Shaked. He told her that the bill intends to harm groups critical of the Israeli government's policies. He says it will have a negative impact on the image of Israel and its standing as an open and democratic society. The bill will now be sent to the Knesset for a preliminary vote. It's unclear if it will pass the plenum, as some coalition members of the Knesset have already declared they will not support it in its current form.
החוק הזה משום מה מוציא דווקא את ארגוני השמאל מדעתם, למרות שזה חוק שקיפות שלא אמור לערב פוליטיקה. אני חושבת שאם ממדינות זרות מתערבות בענייניה של מדינת ישראל, לפחות ראוי שהציבור ידע את זה.
It looks like Israel is one of the best places in the world to do business, according to several end-of-the-year reports. The magazine Forbes and the World Economic Forum have ranked Israel as having the 25th best economy in the world to do business. But their reports point out that Israel could be doing much better with reforms. Forbes says Israel has especially good prospects given its technologically advanced market economy and the benefits that will come from the Leviathan gas field in the future. But the magazine says that Israel needs to improve low labor participation rates for fast-growing social segments of the country, like the ultra-Orthodox and Arab Israeli communities. The World Economic Forum's much more extensive report says that Israel is the fourth best in the world in terms of its capacity for innovation and the quality of its scientific research institutions. In terms of economic freedom, Israel ranks 33rd and is commended as a democratic and free market stronghold in the Middle East. We live in a world that's constantly confronted by the challenges of environmental sustainability, especially when it comes to the production of the food that we eat. The Israeli startup Energene is at the forefront of this issue. Guy Cole is one of the founders of this revolutionary company. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So what does Energene do? It seems pretty complicated, but can you break it down into easy words for us?
So basically, it takes the complexity of the plant's genomes and makes it something that people can use to make better products, better agriculture products, better animal farms, and so on. So basically, to create more food for humanity.
And your technology can also be used on humans. Can you talk to us about that?
So we haven't tried it on humans yet, but we see something that we can take from what we have learned from plants and animals and understand that if we can find things in the plant genomes that, for example, can improve plants, we can find things in the human genomes who can, for example, point to diseases or cancer-causing changes in the genome that later on can lead to better diagnostics or better therapeutics.
So right now, one of your leading projects focuses on wheat. Tell us about that.
Okay, the wheat genome is extremely complicated. It's one of the most complicated plant genome in the world. And because of that, there's no map of it. And there was a big consortium, academic consortium, trying to break up this genome and make a map of it. And they took 10 years and millions of dollars to do, but they haven't finished it. Energene has come up with a revolutionary technology that basically in few months have kind of bring up a full, new, and very accurate map of the wheat genome, in which now can academics all over the world use to make us better wheat plants and make better yields for those very important wheat plants that are basically feeding most of humanity.
It's amazing. So your company is from Israel and your technology was actually pioneered by Israelis. How did you guys start to work on this issue?
So it's an interesting combination of different disciplines that the Israelis are very good at. So both there was genetics and knowledge about plants and the harshness of bringing better plants to places like the desert. and then our very deep knowledge of algorithms and computer science that brought together the ability to do better algorithms and analyze the DNA better, faster, and more accurately to get together into a product that brings both the DNA analysis and the need for better plant genomes to bring up a product that's usable both for agriculture research and agriculture commercial usages, like better seeds that basically feed us all.
So global warming is one of the big issues on everybody's mind right now. How does your technology help combat the issues that our world may be facing because of it?
So we need to develop plants that can withstand heat and coldness and less water and salinity, all those environmental pressures that affect the yield of the plants and the ability to withstand long growing seasons, for example. So Energene is bringing a technology that allows breeding companies and all over the world to develop plants that are better for those specific conditions that are expected to become more and more, around the world. And then when the plant is better and it's more fixed to that specific need, then basically it gets more yield to a given amount of water and resources that are invested in that plant. And that makes us all eat more from the same resources that we have now. So more people, less resources to invest in feeding them.
And talking about people, I mean, I guess you can kind of create the perfect human as well eventually, right?
Well, we don't try to make a better human. What we try to do is, for example, make better diagnostics for cancer. So you can think about a cancer cell as a bad human cell, and we try to understand what makes them bad and how can we fight that badness and allow the body to react better to them. And that's basically what we bring into the table.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Your company sounds amazing, and looking forward to see how you guys change the world.
Thank you so much.
Residents of Jerusalem faced an unusual traffic block on their way home from work yesterday. A massive ostrich decided to take a casual stroll around the Gilo neighborhood in the late afternoon. The ostrich sauntered through the neighborhood for several hours before Israel's veterinary service managed to catch it. Initially, it was assumed the ostrich escaped from the zoo, but an investigation revealed otherwise. An Israeli resident in the area had been raising the ostrich without the knowledge or permission of the Jerusalem municipality. He illegally purchased the female ostrich as a chick from a nearby market and raised her in his home. Either way, the Jerusalem municipality had lots of fun posting about the wandering ostrich online. This adventurous ostrich brings us to our Hebrew word of the day, tzipor, which means bird. Some say the root of the word tzipor comes from the Arabic word for bird, which is asfur, but there's not much out there to verify that. So we thought we'd give you a fun fact instead. Israel's geographic placement on the planet makes it one of Earth's most central migration spots for birds. Around 500 million birds travel through Israel's skies twice a year. And in 2008, Israel chose a hoopoe as its national bird. On that note, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather forecast. Tomorrow is expected to stay sunny with a high of 69 degrees. The temperature will drop to 66 on Wednesday, but the weather will be mostly sunny. All right, everybody, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.88 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at ILTV.tv. And don't forget to check out our new breaking newscast every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.